Oh my gosh, you guys. I don't know if anybody's here was waiting. I was helping my son with his math work and I totally forgot the time. Happens to any of us, doesn't it? But anyway, I made it. I didn't miss the whole hour. Could have been worse. Let's see. I don't know if anybody's going to make it. Let me see. Somebody's here. William calling me out. Thanks a lot, Bill. Things happen. Busy with my son and didn't have an alarm and just flipped out because I realized I wasn't here. I don't know when William sent that. I don't know. Oh, we're growing. We're growing. We got more people showing up. Sorry. But I've made it. Oh no, I'm using that. You gotta wait. You gotta wait. You can wait. Look at mommy's phone. All right. Kind of a crazy day. I know you're just bugging me, Bill. So, everybody, welcome. William, glad to have you. Coach Carey, glad to see you here. Anybody else who might be here, say hi in the chat. Tell me where you're watching from, anything like that, so I know, because otherwise I don't know who's here. Or I get numbers, but I don't know who's here. I don't know who to recognize. So thank you all for being here. Whoops, I didn't mean to hit that switch. But without further ado, I will get started with the discussion today. So, as the title says, radical responsibility. And look at Sean, like, okay, here I am modeling the teaching again. Seems to work out that way. I own it. I was helping my son. I didn't set myself an alarm. That was my mistake. That's a good reminder to me that next week on future Monday Mindshifts, perhaps I should set an alarm that I actually get reminded in case I am involved in helping my son with his math work or something like that. But I'm not going to sit here and treat myself. I'll own it. I apologize to you all for starting late. I appreciate you for showing up, for being patient. I'm grateful to you all, and avoid the blame. Some of you aren't responsible. You're over responsible. How many of you don't just take ownership, but you absorb blame? Taking responsibility is powerful. Turning yourself into the problem every time something goes wrong, that's not integrity. That's self-attack. And welcome, Nicole, glad to have you here. Liana, glad I could be on at least part of Nicole's appearance on Mind Over Matter. Thank you all. Sharon, welcome. Self-blame, don't mistake it. It's not humility. It's actually a control strategy. This is about identity versus behavior. Responsibility is behavioral. Self-blame, that goes into the identity territory. Responsibility says, I did this. And happy President's Day to you, Meryl, and all fellow Americans. I'm glad it didn't snow here. We're actually getting back to our normal temps. Thank you, Leslie. All right, so I was saying responsibility says, I did this. As my earlier example, I neglected to set myself an alarm. I got occupied doing schoolwork with my son and totally bypassed, skipped over the time, forgot about it. Self blame says, I'm a loser. God, I can't even keep my schedule square. Why do I always do that? That doesn't serve anything. When we shift responsibility from behavior, hey, I did it. I apologize. Thank you for your patience, etc. And we shift it to identity. I am fill in the blank, whatever you might use. You stop growth. When we take ownership, we adjust our actions. But blame is an attack of the self. It cuts down at the core. So ask yourself this: when something goes wrong, where does your mind go first? Does it go to the behavior? I made a mistake. Or to you, who you think you are? I am a mistake. Let me get honest here. What does blaming yourself give you? What if I told you it gives you control sometimes? If it's my fault, I can fix it. If I caused it, I can prevent it next time. Over ownership can feel powerful because we avoid uncertainty. And our mind, like uncertainty, is one of the big things that the mind, the brain, avoids, right? It's what triggers fear in us is, I don't know what's going to happen, so I'm going to not do that. The other problem of over responsibility, of self blame, is you become the villain in the story every time. If you're always the cause, you're always the problem. And that's heavy. Do you really want to carry that? So when something happens, think of it this way: the event doesn't create the guilt. What does? Your thoughts about it create it. Here's the sequence: something happens, the mind assigns a meaning, the body reacts. If the mind generates, I failed, I ruined it, I should have known, what does the body feel? Shame, fear. Jay, welcome. The intensity of the emotion is not proof that it's true. Feeling guilty doesn't prove that you are guilty. Responsibility comes from clarity. Blame comes from believing all of those self-critical thoughts. Like I said before, I always, I never, stuff like that. We're criticizing ourselves all the time. So, what can we do? How do we change it? Practice precision responsibility. Think of a recent situation that you're still carrying and separate it. Separate the feeling, separate the thoughts, the voice in your head. What really happened? And then, what did you do? Now, at that point, you can write the story you told yourself about it. And then the power question here: what is specifically mine to adjust? If it's actionable, if you can actually do something, it's responsibility. I need to set myself an alarm for Monday Mindshift. Usually I'm spot on, but obviously some things can distract me. Hey, Annie, welcome. Blame, shame, complain train goes nowhere. Yes, all low vibe. Exactly, Sharon. And all disempowering. So, as I was saying, if it's actionable, it's responsibility. If it's global and personal, that's blame. You see, responsibility is very specific, it's precise. Blame is sweeping. Yeah, I understand that, Jay. I used to say my mom was a travel agent for guilt trips. Exactly. Nick, I got to put that one up. That is powerful. That is gold. When I admit a mistake, I can move swiftly to correct it. I can take action. When I blame myself, I become consumed and I lose focus. Okay, I'm done. Nicole just covered it. Kidding, because there's much more. My other practice, good point, Annie, but we all make mistakes. So the power move is own the mistake, take corrective action, depersonalize it. I made a mistake. I'm human. I do that. We all do, right? I forgot to do that. I was distracted, whatever. I made the mistake. What can I do to correct it? If it's precise like that, if it's actionable, then we know it's responsibility. We're acting from responsibility. But if we start with personalizing it and making it global, using terms like always, never, or anything like that, that's blame. So the two chair dialogue. Our two roles in the first chair is the protector, right? We're going to imagine two chairs, physically put two chairs. The first chair, your protector. From that position, speak as the part of you that believes self blame keeps you responsible. You could use sentences like, if I don't take the blame, complete it. The risk of not blaming myself is, finish that sentence. If I stop being hard on myself, I'll become. I love Ho'oponopono, Jay. You're right, Annie. A mistake is, I wouldn't say it's an unintentional error. It's an, because sometimes a mistake is an oversight. It can be an unintentional error. It's, the blame. Yeah, like Agile, as Sharon just said with Agile, the blame doesn't belong. Agile doesn't use it in software development, not when it's running right. Why do we use it on ourselves? I see this a lot, and I see a LinkedIn user. I'm not sure who it is. Let's see, because he mentions Kenneth. I'm not sure. But welcome, LinkedIn user. I see it in the world whenever something goes wrong in companies, in politics, everywhere. It's their fault. That's the same. If we're blaming others, we're blaming ourselves. What's the difference? Instead of just taking ownership of our error, let's say it that way, instead of a mistake, because mistakes are kind of unintentional. My error, this is what I can do. Anyway, so chair number 1, the protector. Complete those sentences and notice what that part of you is trying to protect you from. That part likely believes that the self-criticism prevents failure, prevents mistakes and errors. Yes. Leslie, in your comment there, I'm thinking of that scene with Jack Nicholson where he says, "You want the truth? You can't handle the truth." Yeah, a lot of times we can't, can we? All right. Our second chair is the sovereign within you. Shift your perspective, shift your seats to that sovereign seat. And from that position, speak as the part of you who knows how to take ownership and not collapse. Prompts can be like, what actually is mine here? What is not mine? This is my error. This is not. The next clear step, going back to what Sharon shared. Martha, welcome. And that was Martha, LinkedIn user. All right. So as Sharon was sharing with Agile, what was the cause? Find the root. How do we fix it? How do we change it? How do we shift it? And in our sovereign role, Lisa, welcome. I can adjust without attacking myself by. And let those two roles, protector and sovereign, it might go something like this. If I stop blaming myself, I lose control. Sovereign says, okay, punishment doesn't create responsibility. Clarity does. Let the conversation flow from your perspective, from your experience, and the times where you've caught yourself criticizing, blaming yourself, trying to act from control instead of clarity. Clarity says, this was my error. This is what I can do to fix it so it doesn't happen again. And finally, the integration, right? All of these things are great when we have the insights. Okay, I need to take responsibility, avoid self-blame. Great. But we really need to integrate those two parts. We're not firing the protector. The protector has a purpose. It has a role. The sovereign has a role. Many times it's about integrating and redirecting. So, the two questions to reflect on here: the old rule I've lived by is, and the new rule I'm willing to test is. I'm going to put that in the chat. Could be something like this: if it happened near me, it's my fault. The new rule: if it's mine, I'll own it. If not, I'll release it. Ownership expands you. Blame shrinks. So are you ready to expand or shrink? Kenneth, loved having you here. I love holidays because I get to see people like Kenneth and others who don't usually get to make it. You don't grow by punishing yourself. None of us can grow with punishment. We grow, you grow when you see clearly what's yours, take the action steps, make the adjustments, and releasing the rest of it. Responsibility is clean, has no weight. Blame, that's heavy. You don't prove your integrity by carrying more weight, by heaping more blame. Right? Think of blame as a big sack on your back. And every time you blame yourself, you're filling that sack, packing on more weight and more weight and more weight. You're not proving integrity, not to yourself and not to anybody else. Stop filling the sack. You need clarity. Let me share this before I close the teaching. Most people will leave a conversation like this and they'll feel clearer, lighter, maybe even some relief. But tomorrow or the next day or next week, the old pattern starts coming back in. This isn't because you're weak or you didn't get it. It's because it's our identity set point, right? Much like no holiday, much like the thermostat in your home. You set the temperature. As the temperature falls, the heat kicks in. A lot of you are up in the cold zone, snow and cold weather, right? You set your thermostat, the temperature falls, the heat kicks in, brings it back up to the temperature. In hotter zones, right, the temperature rises, gets to a certain point, kicks on the AC, brings it back down. It's the same thing with ourselves. We all have our set point. If we fall, the heating kicks in and brings it back. If we rise without adjusting the set point, the AC kicks in and brings us back. So that's why this identity keeps creeping back in, because you didn't change the set point. And your identity defaults to what it knows, to existing settings, right? It's like default on your computer or something. If everything gets lost, everything goes back to default. So if something today, maybe I cut a little close to the bone, don't let it become another insight that you agree with, you nod along, never apply. That's why I have these identity clarity call offers. It's because it's where we can interrupt the pattern at the root. Like Sharon talked about with her agile problem solving, right? Find the root, decide the problem solving steps, and move forward. In the identity call, we look for the root. We try to separate what's actually yours from what you might be carrying out of old habits. Clean, no shame. I don't play the shame game. I lived in the shame game for too long. I don't play the shame game. And if this feels revealing instead of intimidating, send me a message. I'll give you a link to book a call, and we can work through this for real. Otherwise, I thank you all for being here. I'm going to open it up to guests. Exactly. Oh, Colleen has a great one. Let's see. Let me put that up there. Cause and the matter of life events. Quantum side of this. Whenever I speak, I create life or death. Yes, the Bible says there's power of life and death in our tongue. Not my fault nor others' fault. I generate a space clearing around me where people can show up authentically. Do I shut them down? Good question. It's about my way of being, declaring and moving my set point. Yes. And this talk about cause, it's the same thing we talk about in neuro-linguistic programming. It's many people are operating from effect. This happened, I'm unhappy. That happened, da da da. One of the first things I learned in neuro-linguistic programming is shifting from seeing life happening to me to how did the actions, my decisions, my thoughts contribute to what happened. I have it over here on my wall, reminding myself to ask myself, how am I at cause for what happened to me? Or as my mentor says, life doesn't happen to you, it happens for you. If things aren't going right, they're not going the way you want them to, maybe it's trying to tell somebody or something, that infinite intelligence is trying to tell you to shift, to change direction, to find a new way. Yeah, our self-image, our self-concept it is our set point. Who do you think you are? Who do you believe you can be? Right? Do you believe that you can be the person who has the success you say you want? Do you believe that you're the person who can earn the money that you want or help the people that you want? Perfect that we're right after mind over matter, right? That's all about looking at the thoughts. Who do you think you are? The subconscious mind running the show. Many times we're unaware. So that's why it takes a lot of this inner self-awareness and inner excavation. Right? One thing I learned in my life is to stand here today in my heart of hearts and say, I am grateful for everything that's happened to me in my life because it had to happen in order to make me who I am. With the things that I had that at the time, probably I went, this is terrible. This sucks. I don't like it. This is not fair, whatever. But today I can say, I can see the lessons, the shifts in my life that took me to a new level. All right. Let's get this. There we go. Links out if anybody wants to join. As usual, if you don't want to be on video, you don't have to be. You can join audio only. Love to hear from you. Questions, comments, anything like that. I thank everyone for being here. Oh, thanks, Bill. It's something that I learned, and that's integrity, is that our true heart, our true identity, we think we're hiding it behind a mask, but the reality is masks crack, masks fall away, and the truth always seeps out. I learned it in psychology class. It's called the Johari window. Think of your bedroom window, and you think you have your curtains all the way open, or you have them half shut, or you have them all the way closed. That's what your perspective says. Like, I'm not showing anything to anyone, I'm hiding it. But on the other side, they're going, yeah, you're showing more than you think you're showing. Right? If we say we have inner peace and then we fly off the handle, our inner peace isn't really very solid. I had a time one time, one of the pastors from my church was at the house and we were doing some work in the yard. And I was doing something with the shovel, and the shovel came up and smashed my finger against the pipe. It hurt a lot. And the pastor looked at me after I went, and I made all kinds of funny noises, no real words. And he looked at me and he's like, wow. He's like, that's impressive. He's like, I know that hurt. And you never spoke any vulgarity or anything. I do. I have had times where I hurt and I screamed and I said words that I won't repeat here on live. But it's a process, isn't it? It's improving ourselves every day. Like, not looking at what Coach Carey's doing or what Leslie's doing or what Bill's doing or what I'm doing or anybody else, except as inspiration. Be careful not to catch comparisonitis. The only comparison we should do is did I do better today than I did yesterday? Or it could be, did I do better in this hour than I did in the last hour? Exactly, Sharon. Blame, ownership, not the same, two very different things. Ownership allows us to expand and grow. Blame shuts down growth, causes contraction, and it doesn't help you at all. Nobody wants to join me today. You're leaving me all up here. Nobody's going to come save me. No. Bill's here. All right, Bill. Thank you. Thank you. Let's see.
Hey, I'm not camera ready.
What did I say earlier, Bill?
I heard you. I heard you.
You don't have to
Um,
be on camera.
I know. That's why I came up when you said that. Great topic. Great topic about ownership. And man, I felt bad about the joke. I was like, "You're late," and you're like, "I know, Bill." Um, every time I
Don't feel
listen
bad.
to, yeah, and part of there's several things that you said today that really resonated, and you always do. One thing is, like the self-deprecation thing, the taking on the blame for others. um, is something we need to let go of. Um, and being true and authentic. I wrote an, I'm not self promoting, guys, but I really literally last week wrote an article called Taking Off the Mask. And part of that was just about in general. We've been told if we're in a certain position or we have a certain title, we need to act a certain way. And for me, and a lot of the people that we've looked up to, aren't who we thought they were. That could be our parents, that could be celebrities, that could be uh, our bosses, or the marriages of our aunts and uncles that seem so phenomenal. So that part of self love versus comparison, that has got to be our goal. Comparing our lives to others, looking at what someone else is doing and saying, "Ooh, I want to emulate that." Find your lane. Understand who you are. I'll stop there.
Well, and I was just talking about this too recently. I don't remember if it was an interview that hasn't been published or what. Emulating, finding excellence, seeing the excellence in someone, boss, parent, whatever, and wanting to bring that excellence to ourselves, to model that excellence is valuable. Like you said, though, we got to we can't just look at what they're doing, right? People might look at you do one set schedule show a week, right, Bill? Or two.
Actually, it's supposed to be two, but right now it's one.
Right.
Um,
You have UBU on Sundays.
yeah, it used to be Saturday, used to be cousin talk, but getting family together is so difficult. Like that was the
It can
hardest.
be.
And then I have, you've been a part of like my one offs that really aren't scheduled. They're just me popping in.
Right. Real raw,
Yeah.
built to the core.
Yes.
Um, you know, somebody might look at that, or the fact that Leslie does two a week. She does Mind Over Matters on Monday, and she does Think and Grow Rich on Friday. It's not saying like you've got to do a show once a week or twice a week. Maybe you do it every other week or whatever. But look at what is the goal. Why does Bill do the shows he does? Why does Sean do his show? Why does Leslie do her show? Why does Coach Carey do her show? And not at the surface level, but what's the deeper level, right? What is the purpose? And adapt that. Like, okay, what's my purpose and how could I use that, the live show or the way somebody does something in my lane to reach the same purpose? There was a story I read when I was reading in part of my university studies. It was called Purpose Driven Church, which the original author's book was Purpose Driven, was about following your purpose, your true purpose. But it talked about this pastor that came from a little town in Missouri or something like that. And he came out to this big mega church in California. And he pulls in the parking lot, and there's people out there like, "Oh, is this your first time here?" He's like, "Yeah, this is my first time here." And they directed him right up to the front. Like you had, you know, the special the front parking for the people who needed it, right, with handicap plates and all of that. And then they had another section right up front for first time visitors. And they had a whole team in the parking lot. That little small time pastor says, "I need to do that in my church." So he goes back to his little church. He's got maybe 100 spots in his lot, maybe 200 people in his pews every Sunday, and he tries to implement it exactly how he saw it in Southern California. And what do you think happened?
He he couldn't do it as well.
It couldn't do it. It didn't work because he was looking at the top level instead of digging down. Like, what is the purpose? The purpose was to let new people feel welcome. It's like, why does Leslie spend the first half of her show acknowledging everybody? Because everybody sees the way Leslie sees them. It brightens our day a little bit, right?
Yeah,
Like, oh, she sees me, she understands me, she pays attention. And that's getting more and more prominent today, I think, because I've seen people respond to posts anywhere, and it's like, did you listen? Did you read it? Because that response doesn't match.
yeah,
Yeah. I
I
want to
get that.
acknowledge Yeah, I want to acknowledge some comments. I don't know if this is Martha or Colleen, because LinkedIn Restream is not, they're giving me the LinkedIn user. When inner peace shifts, inner child parts I buried, take responsibility to identify, heal the mess.
That's Colleen.
Yeah, Colleen. So in the future, those parts I don't like won't come out. I would say will come out less, because I've seen those parts come up when I didn't expect them. We're all learning and growing, right? Like Sharon says, take the time to configure the operating system. Look at your set point, adjust as needed, right? In the summer, you have a different set point for your house than you do in the winter. Or if you live in Florida, I think it probably stays pretty steady. Guatemala, we don't even have a thermostat.
I
Felipe,
love
thank
what Sharon just said. You are a channel, not a container.
right. Right. There is a greater consciousness. Sometimes it's called a greater consciousness, the collective mind, because I know I've seen it. We've all had those times where we shared something. You're like, where did that come from? Like, I didn't learn that in any book or class or anything, but wisdom came out. Oh no.
But the wisdom comes out, I think, if you're aligned.
Right. And or as Sharon says, if you if you're not blocking it,
Mm-hmm.
if you're
Agreed.
aligned, and if you're allowing the thoughts to settle, because the wisdom doesn't come in loud. It usually comes in very quietly. And if we're caught up in our own thoughts about what I'm going to make for dinner, or where am I going for my anniversary, or do I look bad in this shirt, it's a lot harder to hear.
That's so funny, Sean, because just as you said, do I look bad in this shirt? I was looking at my picture and thinking, God, that's a sad looking picture. Sorry.
It's looking like a local menace.
I know, but
At
I,
all.
I've never seen it that big before. So I look like I'm crying.
But that's the purpose of mirrors, isn't it? Is that
Yeah.
we can look and say, not happy, take responsibility and fix it, adjust it if you feel it's necessary. Avoid the blaming ourselves, or, you know, self flagellation. I never understood that. in the way that, people walk miles and they're whipping themselves with stuff, and I'm like, I don't get that. But how many of us do it up here, when you do something and you go, God, that was so stupid.
I had that yesterday. Um, over things that I couldn't control. It's you think you're doing something great, and then you feel like you're over your skis. And I kept beating myself up after the event, but it was what it was. It hit the right people when it needed to be hit.
Yeah. And like you said, sometimes you can feel like you're flipped upside down. And, that's the responsibility, is like, okay, so I know the error. Is it, oh, no, no, that's not what I was going with, Bill. Here's what you said. You realized it wasn't even in your control. The greater realization is the amount of things we think we control that we actually can control is it shrinks. I've
Yeah.
definitely seen that in my life. We think we're controlling this stuff, but we're not. We don't really have the control over it. It's kind of like the book, Don't Sweat the Small Stuff. And it's all small stuff.
So I'm going to ask you this: do you ever get to the point where everything is small stuff, but it has accumulated so much that you make it big?
You ever had a tiny, tiny rock in your shoe
Yes. Yes.
and you go nuts looking for it? You turn your shoe upside down, you shake it, you run your hand through there, you put it back on, you feel the stupid thing again. And the first 10 minutes, it's an irritation. The first hour, it's feels like your foot's gonna, you know, like I
You're
was saying to
hard.
my son, like when he was little, when he was a baby, he felt light. He was like 8 pounds. Anybody who's held an 8 pound baby for hours, 8 pounds starts to feel like 50 pounds. So, yes, all these little things, they're all small, but if we let them build up, it's like you never get the rock out of your shoe, and then you get another rock. And now you got two. And you didn't deal with the rock in your shoe, and you get another one or two. So, yes, all the little things we can let build up, and they become something very big. And I would say usually it's because our thoughts about it start expanding,
Exactly.
right?
And we start
Uh,
focusing on the rock instead of the journey.
right. Instead of actually enjoying the journey, or actually like taking the time to get a new pair of shoes.
Right.
Like maybe you can't get the rock out, so you
And
get
if you
new shoes.
can't walk barefoot,
I spend most of my day barefoot.
yep.
It's I was reading a book about, it's called I think it's called the Relationship Handbook by George Pransky. And he was talking when two people fall out of love, it's usually because they started focusing on all the little stones instead of focusing on the beautiful views, the powerful moments. And we start developing these thoughts. God, can't they do this the right way? Must they always do that? You know, how many times do we see the meme about the husband? I just saw it recently. He says, tying my wife's glasses on. He looks around, like when he looks, the house is clean. And he puts her glasses on and the place is trashed. And I've seen it the other way too, where the wife says, you know, she puts on his glasses and she looks at the house and everything's spotless. So we can dwell and focus on all the little rocks and how irritating they are. And it's like that snowball coming down the mountain gets bigger, 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 bigger. I've seen it in my own life when I focus on, to borrow Sharon's Gita, gratitude is the attitude. Be grateful for the good things. Yeah, maybe. And I heard the sign, the people who last for years in a relationship are the people who take those little things that their partner does and just like, it's not a big deal. Yeah, it's annoying, but I'm not going to let it kill the whole relationship because of one little thing. It's just annoying to me.
Understood. Great point. Hi, Sharon. She said hi to me. Sorry.
Sharon's amazing. And thank you, Bill, for coming up and
Thank you.
bringing wisdom and bringing yourself.
I appreciate that. And I appreciate the fact that you said wisdom. Have a great one, Sean.
Yeah, thanks, you too. And thank you, everybody in the audience. Bobby, I see Bobby joined. And I think Colleen, let's see, was it Colleen or, because I got two people, Colleen and Colleen said, used to be so deep in those ways of thinking. It's very easy. What I've learned in my life and from my studies is those negative ruminant thoughts, right? They say 80, 90,000 thoughts a day. Majority of them are negative. And the other thing is most of those thoughts are repetitive. They're the same thoughts we thought yesterday. And so we have to let them be like negative thoughts, let them flow like the clouds drifting by, because they will stick if you let them get too close. Positive thoughts are slippery, they slip away. So we have to take action. We have to grab a hold of the positive using gratitude. Daily gratitude is so simple. I'm grateful. I'm grateful. Say it to yourself. I'm grateful I'm alive again today. I woke up. The sun rose. I still have a house. The internet still works. There's water. That's a big deal. That's a big deal when you live in a developing country. The water sometimes isn't there. Or the gas runs out on the stove and you got to go to the bank and get some cash if you don't have any at home and call the gas company to come and bring you a new can of gas. Living abroad has really taught me to be grateful for a lot of stuff and show gratitude to others. I am grateful for each and every one of you who are here, whether you're watching on Team Live or Team Replay, your comments, your presence. It's not taken lightly. Thank you all. Remember, the key lesson here is ownership expands you, it's actionable. Blame shrinks you, and it's global and personal. Take control of your thoughts. Grab a hold of those good thoughts. Look for the things your gratitude. Share your gratitude with others. Find the silver lining in every cloud. Right? Jay, that comment has me singing an old church song, count your blessings, name them one by one. I'll leave it there. Thank you, thank you, thank you, everyone. Have an amazing week. Powerful. Adjust set points as necessary, because otherwise we go back to that set point every time. Thank you all, and we'll see you next week. Bye-bye.
In the shadow of a mirror, where the past holds tight, he walks in with fire, igniting the night. A truth seeker's vision, he shines through the black. With every step forward, he won't look back, telling tales of struggle, the masks we wear. We're bound by the labels, lost in the snare. Time to break free from those chains of doubt, with his voice like thunder.
Martha, I apologize. I just saw you were on stage.
Hi, Sean. Oh my goodness, it's so good to be here with you. Thank you, Kenny and Meryl. They sent me the invites. Um, but I've been tuning in and out. And I wanted to, I've been really focusing, on mental health lately, and even reading an amazing book. And something happened yesterday. And as you were speaking and I'm reading the comments, I'm like, oh my goodness, let me inquire. Um, we could be really doing really, really good. We're on this journey. And then, of course, boom, something comes up, right? That can totally change how you feel. And then you're going back, like you're feeling like you're doing the self negative talk. Um, and then with that comes the physical feelings and the health. For me, it was a migraine. um, and then lack of sleep that comes with that. And so I've been learning a lot about like controlling those feelings, the trigger feelings. And gratitude obviously has been key, but I still find myself, and I don't know if any friends here that are with us also may come across this, where you get triggered and then you feel like you just went backwards.
And I would offer a reframe. I firmly we use that word triggered. I've used it. What if the reality is we trigger ourselves? We allow our old thoughts about someone or something to trigger that physiological response.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
And Martha, you said something. We try to control our thoughts.
Mm-hmm.
What I've been learning is it's not about controlling our thoughts. That's like trying to rope the wind.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of it is, I like to use the metaphor of a glass of muddy water. What can you do to clear the water?
Mm. Okay.
Somebody said the other day, pour more clean water in.
Uh-huh.
And yes, that is somewhat effective.
Or dump it out.
Dump it out and get new water, yes.
Yeah.
But the best, an easy way that doesn't require much effort at all is stop messing with it
Mm. Mm-hmm.
and let it settle. Right? Our thoughts, the pain, the discomfort we feel from past experiences, it's not the experience. The experience has been done
Mm-hmm.
for how long? It's our thoughts. We brought the thought back up like, that was so messed up what he or she did, or that situation. Why can't people do that? We keep replaying it. We keep stirring the cup and bringing the turbidity back in. That's why, meditation is so beneficial. And a lot of people really feel like meditation is like, I can't do it because I can't shut my thoughts up, because they're trying to pause thought. It's more about let thought do what thought does, let it settle. Stop trying to push it, control it, wrangle it, and just let it clear and on its own. And let your mind go back to its innate default. And when I say the innate, like when we were born, innate. Right? If we look at kids, especially very young kids, they might get upset, but then it's gone. They're back playing. I've seen my son like fighting with another kid 1 minute, and the next minute they're all playing together like nothing happened.
I like that. Why can't we do that as adults? You know what I mean? Now that you're saying that, it's so interesting. Thank you for bringing that up too.
Because, like I said, what I've learned is we keep bringing up that old thought, like
Yeah.
he's such a blah blah blah.
Mm-hmm.
I'm such, to go on this self blame thing. I'm such a blah blah blah. And how many times are those? Is that voice our own? And sometimes it's not even our voice,
Yeah.
right? It's somebody in our early development that said, "Oh, rich people are always greedy and blah blah blah. They don't care about anybody else." I've seen wealthy people change lives, and I've seen people who are struggling to pay their rent change lives as well. The money it's irrelevant. I always said, success, money, I always learned it just amplifies who we are, right? And keep shining your light, Martha, because I love what you're doing. I was doing that for a while when I was in California.
Yeah, it's nice. I don't know, I'm going through a journey right now. You guys are all seeing it. It could be messy and then it could be good, then it could be messy again. It's up and down. But my therapist said that's part of the journey. Everyone has good days and bad days. I recently learned, and I'm going to start incorporating this. As a matter of fact, this weekend I was reading a beautiful book, and I learned that, we learn all these things around us, right? Why don't we learn our own brain? I was like, that is an interesting point. Learning your brain. I haven't heard this before, so as I'm listening to you, and I listened to Leslie earlier with Nick, and it just brings up situations like, thinking outside the box. What can we do to help ourselves, so that we can control our thoughts? Oh, like you said, you can't. We shouldn't have to control our thoughts. We should be able to manage them, I guess is the word. I need to be a little bit more careful with my words. But I'm still learning. And Sean, thank you so much, because just your calmness and your voice is very safe for anyone to be able to speak to you. So I really appreciate you. And I'm gonna put myself on mute now, and I'll be back in the audience. Thank you so much, Sean.
Right. Yeah, I'm a little over, but I saw you there. I couldn't, ignore you because
Oh, I appreciate you, Sean. And I'm sorry I came up late. But I really appreciate you.
I didn't get, that's a great reminder, Martha. You know, we might stand and say, well, I've gotten pretty good at not blaming myself and not identifying with my mistakes or my errors. But how many times do we utter those words? I'm sorry. And we didn't do anything to need a sorry.
Hmm. Yeah, it's always been my go-to phrase, my safe, my safe words.
It's
Yeah,
you're not alone.
yeah,
I have it on my reminder, like, be careful with your sorries.
yeah.
Use them intentionally. Like, I'm sorry I was late.
But I was late though, so I am sorry for that. I really am.
Right. But at the same time, Martha, I had already gone into my wind down, my countdown clock. I could have just messaged you privately and say, hey, sorry, I saw you after I had already gone into shutdown. I didn't have to bring you back up.
Yeah.
The fact that you're here talking to me tells me, yeah, you were late, but don't worry about it.
Hmm. Well, I humbly say thank you. I would put myself on camera, but I'm still in pajamas, friends, and I don't want to scare you guys too.
No worries, no
Thank
worries.
you so much, Sean. Really
You're very
appreciate it.
welcome. Have an awesome week and keep moving forward, growing with every step, because that's what I think it's all about is, getting better with each step. We're not going to
Definitely.
get it every time. We're going to slip backwards. Like you said, I know what you're saying. I've had times where I felt like the events and I felt like I was, I got 3 steps forward and 10 steps back.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And today I go, that was just my thinking. I just thought I went 10 steps back because of my perception from my perspective. Was I really 10 steps back? Or was I like gearing up for the next jump? Like if you look at a parkour, my son loves parkour. He thinks he's parkour, but he's like 8.
I don't even know what that is. I'm gonna have to look it up.
If you've ever seen the videos where they like do these crazy jumps,
Oh.
heights, or they kind of walk up a wall and get up to another tier, that's parkour.
Oh.
Anyway, sometimes, if you got to do a jump, you can't jump from where you stand. You've got to pull back so you can get more velocity to make that bigger jump. So, what if our 10 steps back, what we think is 10 steps back, is actually gearing up so we
Mm.
can launch to the next level?
Wow. Wow. I'm at wow right now. I am so glad I came up. That is all I'm gonna say.
Should I pick this up and drop it?
OMG. Okay, I may just be jumping, okay, later. But wow, that makes sense. I like the way you described that. Um, yeah. Oh my goodness. I guess when this occurrence happened to me, I don't guess this occurrence happened to me yesterday. I thought about someone who made a smirk and it really upset me. And it happened to be my father. And I seen that in someone
Mm,
that I love dearly. And in that moment, all I could see was pain. And it's like, okay, now I'm retracting back to pain where I have been doing so good. And then it's like, I'm almost like facing this, like, I don't want to say demon, but like, this issue that I've already said no to, but yet it still kind of lingers there. And it's like, no, I'm still working on getting my power back. But it's sometimes things will come up that will kind of take me to that space again. And I'm like, no, but this time I'm not ignoring it. I am pointing it out, but my emotions still get in the way. And so, you saying that jump, I can so resonate with the jump. Like, yeah, I am getting much more ahead than where I was before because I wasn't moving before, but now I am. So I really appreciate that very much, Sean. Thank you so much.
and it's like any healing, Martha. I was thinking as you were sharing that a couple weeks ago, I was unfolding a ladder and I bit a chunk out of this finger, and it's mostly healed, but it's still tender.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody poked it, or if I hit it again with a sharp object, it's going to hurt more than another finger that doesn't have the injury. Or about 20 years ago, I cut a finger off by accident. It's healed, but every time I hit it, it feels like a, a standard bump on the table that most people would be like, oh, I hit the table, ow. It feels like I slammed it in a car door.
Whoa. Yeah.
So I think of like those things like you shared.
Mm-hmm.
We go, but I'm healed. Look, it's healed. Like, why does it hurt so much?
Yeah.
And we can take that, as you said, as a signal to pull back,
Mm-hmm.
or we can say, look, I've healed. It doesn't hurt as much as it did last time. Or like we said, you're pulling back so you can launch to the next level. Hope that
Yeah.
helps.
Oh, it helps so much. Like, you have no idea. Right now, I am going to go outside and I am going to jump because it's almost like the way you described it to me too. I took it as levels, right, through the healing process. But yeah, I get it. Thank you very
Right.
much.
And the scars we don't see, they're often a lot deeper than the physical scars.
Oh my goodness. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
They are.
All right. I will let you go so you can go
Thank you,
outside
dear.
and jump,
Yes.
celebrate the sun.
I'm gonna jump with Teddy. It's raining over here, but you know what? I don't know if you've ever walked in the rain. It feels good. It feels good.
We don't do it all the time in the rain here because it's 70 degrees and rain.
Ooh, 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 that sounds beautiful.
And the rain's not icy cold.
Oh, that's nice. That's even better. Sorry, my son's calling me now. See you later.
Take care,
Bye.
Martha. Bye. And everybody listening in, thank you again for being here. And we'll see you all next week. Bye-bye.